back, and we're back with a gentleman that's nice to meet, Patrick Patterson,
Nice to meet you.
Center Manager for a group called the Blue Water Recovery and Outreach Center, which has been around for a couple of years in the Blue Water area. Welcome to the Focus Set. Talk to me about the center, talk to me about you.
Thanks for having me on the show, Paul. The BWROC, which is short for Blue Water Recovery.
Oh, I like that, BWROC, yeah, that's a cute name.
That's what everybody around town calls us. So,
Yeah.
We're a local recovery organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, so we are a charity.
Yeah.
And we exist off of kind donations from our local community.
Wonderful.
And you know, a lot of corporate sponsors, and we see the community coming to rally behind the cause of recovery like we could never have imagined. They have an enormous amount of support for that.
The nation is alive with stories and television shows about the opioid addiction crisis.
Sure.
And you're on the front lines.
You're absolutely right. We're in the thick of it. We're in the trenches every day. And I think back to where my life once was, which brings me into some of this, what we offer at BWROC and some of the services. And you know, where was I at in my life before I wrecked my life? Mm-hmm. In today's world, we go to treatment centers for 30 days, and then what do we do? You know, after that, we go into recovery housing, and we got meetings after meetings. But where were we at before all of that occurred? Because by the time I get to treatment, my life's already falling apart most of the time.
Right.
So that's where our focus is today. How can we find those individuals before the tragedy happens? Where are you? We're in the workplace. So we spend a lot of our time and energy finding those individuals that are suffering from addiction in the workplace and try to get them into recovery before the wreckage occurs. So we're out at the largest manufacturing employer in the county, which is SMR.
Right.
We're there. I'll be there this evening. We deliver group presentations to the entire company, and we're not there to monitor the individuals. Our goal there is to help those folks get into recovery, either themselves or family members, loved ones that are suffering from addiction. You know, my child, my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle. I mean, there's very rarely do we come across a family today that hasn't been affected. And so when we're in the workplace, we serve as an alternative to the HR department. If I'm suffering from addiction or my loved one's suffering from addiction, I'm very unlikely to go to my HR and say, what can you do to help me?
You don't want to lose your job.
I don't want to lose my job. But if there's this alternative recovery group that's on site for 2 hours every shift once a week to get to know the employees and hang out in the lunchroom, you can't go into a break room and not see somebody from BWROC. We're all over the TVs. We're there in person. So it's not that somebody's going to come up to us while we're there, because this is, remember, this is an anonymous, you know, kind of program.
Right.
And so, but what we do get is we're like a walking billboard in those manufacturing facilities, and that the next day we'll get the phone call. We have an 800 number, which is 888-68-BWROC, BWROC. And a lot of times that's how this process works. We're not here to make the immediate impact, come in and say, you know, we had 4 overdoses last month. Let's get rid of that problem. But what we do find is that when we start to build relationships with these individuals over time, when I finally get the willingness, I'm suffering from addiction, I finally get the willingness 3 months from today, I feel comfortable going to this organization that I built a relationship with that is in here once a week.
So you have to admit, at some point you admit that you have a problem, and that's like other issues with alcohol or tobacco or something else. Once you make that decision or that discovery that you have an issue, mm-hmm. it's easier to get help, right?
Absolutely, it's easier to get help, but coming to that point of admitting that I have a problem can take years, and it's very difficult for myself. When I was in that situation, I couldn't admit that I was an addict because I thought for the rest of my life my identity changes to being an addict. So therefore I'm not going to do it.
Right.
What I've come to realize is that my identity today is associated with recovery, not addiction. My entire family associates me with recovery. My entire inner circle and even outer circle, those that know me as recovery. So those that are watching that may be suffering from addiction, or you have a loved one that's suffering from addiction, know that your identity does not stop just because you admit you're an addict, it changes from being an addict to recovery, and it's a blessing like I could never have imagined.
So once they admit it and they get talking to you, do you have a 7-step program like other groups, or do you handle it differently?
Sure. Our mission is to provide the face and voice of recovery, promote community wellness engagement, and support all recovery pathways. One
Okay.
of those recovery pathways may be AA or NA, which is a 12-step based program. But if you're not a spiritual individual, that's okay. You know, we will support mind, body, spirit, or more of a Buddhist approach, or a Bible study. Whatever pathway is, because there are multiple pathways. We're going on a campaign right now where we're featuring one individual every week that's in recovery. We're starting a new TV series called Recovery Happens. And we're going to feature one individual to share their journey on how they got into recovery.
Wonderful.
Because there's 50 different pathways that people have used to get into recovery.
Where are you going to air the TV?
Andrew Brown is producing it.
Right. He's a great guy.
We need to air it somewhere.
Okay.
So
you're going to be on YouTube also? Probably?
YouTube, yep.
Okay.
We're going to in social media. Most
Okay.
likely it's going
All
to
right.
go on Facebook,
Well, we'll
social
take a look
media.
at it, too.
In our website, BWROC.org, we'll have the whole series on there.
You got a brochure here that says there's a 5K run coming up.
That's right.
What's that all about?
Well, it's a run or walk.
Run or
Those that
walk.
are in recovery don't always run that far. So we may walk. You can sign up for either event. It's only a $10 registration, which is very cheap for a recovery run. It's the first annual recovery run from addiction in the Blue Water area.
And it's going to be, if I can read that, June 21st?
June 21st.
7 o'clock, you said. You
It's a-
picked that on purpose.
We did. Now, June 21st is the first day of summer. So it's the
Okay.
recovery run on the first day
Can
of
we get
summer.
the spring first?
Yeah, right. Well, it's going to be on the first day of summer in the evening along the river.
Oh, beautiful.
So it'll be a Friday evening. Most runs are on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd do it a little bit different and do an evening run
I like it.
on a Friday to the sunset going down, running along the river.
Okay.
So we'll hope for pray for some beautiful weather.
It's called Blue Water Recovery and Outreach, and how can the public help? So write you big checks, but
We are
how
seeking corporate sponsors
okay.
to help put on the event. So those individuals that either work for an organization that would like to support the cause of recovery, we have a sponsorship package that's in the middle of our brochure.
Okay.
If somebody would like to sponsor, or the individual that would help donate, because we are a charity, so we can't go into the workplace without the help of our individual donors.
Okay.
They help put on these events. We also put on Recovery Hockey Night last Friday. We put on Recovery Bowling Night in January and December.
Well, you brought along some pictures. I'll drop those in later.
Yeah, put those in. That'd be great. So every month we put on another event, and our individual donations and corporate sponsors help put those on. So if I'm suffering from addiction, my enemy is isolation. So we try to put these events on a continual basis, so those people that are in recovery and or seeking recovery have a place to go and find a group of individuals who have done it themselves.
We're going to have you back. You're quite a guy. It's Blue Water Recovery and Outreach, the 888 number 68 BWROC. Blue Water Rock. I like the name. It's really
BWROC.
cool. BWROC.
Thank you, Paul.